Alright, so I'm gonna go over some baby deck stuff. I actually like Mono Red Baby a lot. It's the deck I actually ran at Nationals. I think it's fun. Um, but of course, with set 8, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't work with them. Reasons to go yellow, and even some people trying to make their red baby decks into red yellow. So we can go over some things we can do, starting with how Mono Red Baby is and the changes, and then finally we will do the regular yellow baby. And I'll put a little link, I guess, to the different decks since my camera's terrible. Can't really go over everything. I am missing 2 of the cards, so of course it's other reason to look at deck lists. So let me start with the Mono Red Baby. Yay! This leader's awesome. I really like him. Good utility. That's just my side deck because that's the deck I actually run. But obviously you want for the 6 drop, it's going to be your main chain. It is important to keep in mind that this is a combo and a control deck. You want to get off your baby chain as quick as possible. This deck is meant to do a turn 2 or turn 3. And then of course we have 4 of the 5 drop, which is used to go into the 6 drop. We have 4 of the 1 drop, which is used to search the 4 drop to go into the 5 drop. For Digging Deep Vegeta, this is one of the main reasons why it's good to still be a red baby leader, because putting this out turn 2 is a lot of pressure, even turn 3 is decent pressure. Want some good grind games just by taking 1 life every turn and swing with this twice for 20 each. So that's important. And of course this is good life manipulation. You can awaken turn 2 with it, untap, do your shenanigans. We have 4 of the 4 drop baby, a key to going into the 5 drop. We have 4 familial bonds, the little combo to play out our digging deep for cheaper, even if it's not turn 2. The fact you're using 1 less energy is a big deal. We have, I think I actually have 3 copies of Afterimage in the main deck, but one of the things you trade out is, it's not currently in here, but the reason why I didn't show it is because you would put in Beerus Ball for that Afterimage. Since with set 8, even if you don't have the red yellow, just the fact that for 1 energy you can stop their counter plays, which is mainly what you're using it for, or even late game stopping their bait. Stop the bait card so that your 6 drop can kill their main threat. It's a good card. I think 2 is actually the right number. These 3 is a little too much. There's lost that doesn't care about it. It doesn't end the battle, so like Broly apes can still combo. And then we have 4 of our super combos, specifically the Goten because it is another familial bonds target. Not that you should really worry too much about that, but there are corner cases. 3 Bullas, this is basically like having a 5th copy of the Digging Deep and the 5 drop, because you need to get your chain so you can mulligan aggressively, keep this turn 1, play as your turn 1. 3 copies of Denial of Hope, because you gotta be able to stop stuff. Definitely red has a beautiful negate with Denial of Hope. 2 Exploit Weakness Vegetas, good board wipe. 2 Topos, super awesome negate. 2 Daily Train Vegetas. It's not the best card, but when you don't have the full combo, and also just because for cheaper you can start actually doing your baby line, it can help out when you just need to leave out that extra for the negate. 2 copies of It's All You've Got, or Is That All You've Got? A decent negate. You don't always get to do the discard, that's why it's only a 2. We're not against the boards we used to be against. Revenge Death Ball, for 1, it's a 25's active battle, so you can wait and bait out some combos. So it does a lot of work. And now we have our 1-ofs. We have the 1-of Foreseeing Hit, 1 of Nappa because it's the mono red variant, and the SCR Frieza. If you didn't want to run the Nappa, you could try to find room for 2 4-star Dragon Balls. The main reason I don't run that is about 20% of your games, they're in your life or hand, which makes them feel a lot worse. Like I said, you are running a combo deck. So when you're doing that, any dead cards reduce the chance of you getting your chain off. So I did my best to have as few dead cards as possible with my version, but the Dragon Balls are fine because they are good card advantage if they are in the deck. Alright, so now let's go over what we would do to turn this into a red-yellow version. So we'd still be using the red leader. The main thing is we'd be adding in our red-yellow cards. So we'd want to add in 4 copies of this 4-drop. It's going to be able to be our energy. We can rival it out pretty early. So just another way to get up our chain. We would add in 3 copies of this ape. You can really do 2 if you want. The main thing for this ape is sometimes in mono red you didn't have the 6-drop. So it's like, oh, I have to end my chain here. Well, with the 7-drop addition being multicolor energy, you can just have basically, it's not exactly like having more copies of the 6, but it just lets you go further up the chain because 5 is a vulnerable cost. 3 copies of Whis, just decent multicolor. And 2 copies of Blutz Wave. So the reason why this is significant is this deck needs to get out the 5-drop. We are going to be cutting a few cards to make this deck work. And when we cut those cards, it makes it a lot less consistent at getting some of the cards. So we would cut 2 Revenge Death Balls. We would cut the 2 Daily Training Vegetas. We would cut all 3 Bullas, which is one reason why we need the Blutz Wave, so that we can try to get to our 5-drop. It's super relevant to be able to find it to continue doing things. We'd go down to, why is there only 3 in here? That's weird. I must have not chose the deck right. So we'd go down to 3 Familial Bonds instead of being at 4. And we'd go down to 3 babies. So the thing is, we only need 3 now because even if we whiff them in the deck, these are now valid targets. So it's not the best target, but it is helpful, especially with all the counterplay cards going on. Oh, there's the other one. I don't know why my deck's out of order. We'd still keep our Digging Deeps. We'd still keep our babies and keep the rest there. Oh, there was the other afterimage. That's what screwed me up. I'm like, where's my last one? So that one will be coming out. So, and then of course all of our 1-drops would be coming out of the deck. So we don't need the SCR anymore. We don't need the nap anymore. We don't need the hit anymore. So we could go over our minuses once more from the deck. So we'd lose Afterimage, all 3 Bullas, do daily trainings, to do Revenge Death Falls, which is a great reason being baby anyway, but we have to take it out. 1 Super Saiyan Strength baby, 1 Familial Bonds, 1 hit, 1 Nappa, 1 Frieza. Now, one thing to note is I actually originally had 2 Beerus Balls in the deck, but 1 was removed to make room for the Blutz Wave because I realized that without the 5, the deck just sits there and does nothing. And this deck doesn't have the search that it used to have, so it needed that addition. It is also worth mentioning that you're basically playing it for free, while Bulla would have costed you 1, so it does open up your energy in some cases. So that's how we would convert this to red-yellow. I'll have the list, that way people can compare the lists without me having to lay this out, because there's not really enough room to lay out all the cards. Okay, so we ended up taking out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 cards. So not that big of a change. If you did want to add the SCR, I don't have a copy, but if you did want to add it, you would basically try to find room by removing some of your less used cards. So for example, if you did have that 3rd Afterimage in, you would remove that. And the other option would be removing either 1 Whis, but I think with this version it's fine to have 3. are one of the 7 drops, because really you want to play the 6 drop most of the time. The 7 is just another way to go up the line if you are lacking the 6. So that would be your options there. Now let's go over Yellow Baby. So what's the thing about this Yellow Baby leader? So its ability is very consistent at searching out your pieces, which is nice. You awaken turn 2 very consistently. It is not an untap leader, unfortunately. As you can see, it's a draw 2 leader, but that's fine. Being in yellow, we do get access to a few interesting cards in our side deck and main deck if you want to put them there. But this deck lacks a little bit more removal. We're missing the 4-drop red and the leader ability, so we're doing a lot less removal early game with this deck. Another thing we're going to be missing out on is digging deep, because we can't really do familial bonds. So this deck is more about baby pressure and less about just decent cards. So we'll go over what's being added to the deck. Of course, the leader is going to change. We're going to add in 4 Bulma Brainwashed, decent search. We'll add in 4 Bulla Brainwash, great blocker, good at getting baby pieces back. 4 super combos. We just picked those because it's from the set. 4 Muse. 3 of the Origins. 2 I think is a little too few because it really gives you bad situations of whiffing with the Mew. That's actually why a lot of times when people add Dragon Balls to Pain, they do 3, not 2. So we'd go with 3 Baby Origins. Even if we get 1, we can just hard cast it. And this is the alternate chain, so 3 of the 2-drop and 3 of the 3-drop for the chain. But really, that's not the main line you want. You want to. We'd also still have 2 Blunt Waves. You don't really want more than that because you don't really want to play too many. We'd end up with only 2 Whis, not 3. We could still do 3 of these and 4 of these. Additional cards we'd be adding depending on what you do. So let's say hypothetically we wanted to do this deck. So number 1, these would be out, these would be out, these would be out. We can't use these anymore. Can't use these anymore. No more of these. No more of these. We would still use these. We would still use these, and we can't use these. And then we still need some sort of protection, so there are 2 negates. So 2 time magics in the deck. Other than that, really the deck doesn't have negates. It's pretty YOLO on the chain. And then we'd also add the SCR, which I'm missing, and the 5 cost baby, which I'm missing. So unfortunately I can't show it on the screen, but it's pretty relevant. So we only run 8 Brainwash, but that's fine. You're going to see about half your deck. So in theory, 4 Brainwash should be going into your drop. So we will either want to get our 4 out somehow, and then go from 4 into 5, into 6. If we don't have the 6, we would go into the 7. And then on a later turn, what we would actually want to do is, instead of going to either one of those, we want to get rid of our 4 guys and go into the 5, which unfortunately I can't show you since I don't have it. Another thing you can do if you don't want to play defensively with the 2 time magics, if you don't want to respect the fact that you might need to use them, you can remove the 2 time magics and add in 2 Planet Vegetas. And if you add in the 2 Planet Vegetas, you would add in 4 of these Pure Hearts instead of the other super combo, since it is searchable for Planet Vegeta. The relevance of Planet Vegeta would be, number 1, it can search out the 4-drop, because this deck is very, very focused on playing this 4-drop. It's your key way of going up any chain. So if you can't find it, that's a guaranteed way to find it. It doesn't look at top X, it just straight up looks through the deck. The other thing is it lets you untap apes, so people can't start swinging at them, because people will start comboing to try to kill them. And as people who play baby know, when your baby dies, your deck gets a lot weaker. In terms of protection, I don't run the 8-drop, and on my side deck I normally run 1 to 2 copies of Strategy of Universe 7, depending on the deck. Another great thing about running the yellow leader is you can side deck 1 to 2 Swift, Retaliation, Cooler. There's a lot of times where people are low enough where the one swing of this can kill them, and everyone just saving their negates every turn. So eventually you go, no, I'm tired of that. Swing, Cooler. And odds are they can't really combo enough over it, or they have to minus a lot to get rid of it. So I like to have 1 of those to 2 of those in my reserves when I'm playing the yellow baby. That's pretty much it. I will have the deck list linked. That way people can actually look at it instead of just looking at this crazy spread of cards. I already have my invite for 2020. I don't know if I'll be running Baby then, because it depends what cards come out till then. But I hope to see you guys at the 2020 Nationals. And as always, have fun, because that's what we're here for, to have fun, right? Bye.